Welcome back to another episode of a Wanderer's Way podcast. I'm your host, Dustin, and today we're actually going to have a discussion about why arcades are thriving in Japan, but why they're nearly extinct here in the United States. All right, so those beautiful, amazing, wonderful arcades that we all love, and all those retro games and the newer style games, well, they have nearly extinct here in the United States. I haven't been to an arcade since the 90s until um just about 3 years ago when I was living in California. I was living in Sacramento at the time, and I actually went to this place called Coin Op. It's a bar, so obviously kids can't go there. So that kind of kills another advantage. And it was strategically placed right in downtown. But it was awesome. You know, you still feel it like a kid again, play retro games, have some beer, pizza, yeah, everything. Enjoy the perfect life of an adult, fun, like a kid. But that's really the last time I've actually seen one around. Most places you go, you don't really see them. So, why have the arcades declined so badly in the United States? Well, many people claim that the crash of the 1983 was what really killed them off. However, that played a big role. It started the steep decline in arcades. However, I don't think that's what really killed it. So for United States, we get this bad reputation. We're lazy. And to be fair, it's valid. It's very, very true. And I'm including myself in that. Because let me tell you, if I can stay at home and not be around anybody, just play games all day, awesome. So yeah, home consoles is one thing that definitely killed arcades in America. Plus, you have to look at the strategic placement of these too, and who are the owners. So, they were placed in small suburbs, towns, and strip malls. And, they just gained more negative reputation for them. And it was mostly because they were in small, little places that were like dive bars, for example, and dimly lit that caused accidents and incidents. And on top of that, were very low on staff. So all these things played a role in why arcades have died in America. And it's really sad because, even though I hate being around people, I would love to go to an arcade right now just to have that old school feel. Man, I miss it. It's one of the most beautiful feelings ever is when you went to an arcade. Now, the question is, why are arcades thriving so well in Japan? Like, what's the difference? Shouldn't they have died with the 1983 crash? What about home consoles? Because Japan definitely are huge on their home consoles. So, what created the difference here? What is the impact? Well, let me start by saying Space Invaders is what actually created the arcade thrive in Japan. It was so popular, so popular. They actually were running out of coins. They were 100 yen coins machines, and they were running out of them too. It was so popular. Now, here's the difference between Japan and the United States. Compared to United States placing their arcades in small suburbs and towns and strip malls, the difference was in Japan, they strategically placed them in the heart of their base cities. And they were conveniently placed as well for commuters. So someone coming home from work or going to work, they can stop there, throw some change in, play a couple games, and then hop right on the train and go where they need to go. So they were just right there. They weren't invisible, I guess is the best way to say it. United States, they were visible unless you were just going somewhere and just happened to be there. In Japan, they make them very visible. So Anywhere you walk, anywhere you go, you see it. So that's one big advantage that Japan had over America. Japan still faced the same problems. A seedy reputation, the negativity. Um, and it was mostly the 80s and 90s, which they did face those problems the same as America did. Their low lights, like bars, you know, low staffed. But the difference between Japan and America for the arcades is that Japan didn't give up. America kind of gave up. They didn't really create much. Now that's the huge difference here. Japan didn't give up on the arcades at all. In fact, you have Sega and Bandai Namco that were big creators, which also gave an advantage to arcades. And they created these large, multi-flooring game centers. They weren't just one floor, here's everything, and small. These places are massive. If you've ever been to Tokyo, you would know what I'm talking about. Like, these game centers are just absolutely massive, brightly lit up, very, very clean, and very welcoming. They are not invisible. It is one of the biggest signs right there on the buildings. And these are usually like 5 floors or so like that. You got some of your crane games, which are where I spend most of my time. And that's on the first floor. Yeah, the second floor, that's usually for dancing games, rhythm, Third floor is more like fighting with card games and such. Yeah, fourth floor, which is more of like simulation-based gaming. And then finally, you got your top floor, the one that you wanted more than anything. That's where all your retro games are at. So it kind of pushes you to go through everything strategically. You find what you like, and sometimes you get so sucked in, especially the crane games. They're one of the most popular ones besides, the dancing and rhythm games. So they really, really created an amazing atmosphere for arcade systems. Now, here's another thing that really helped Japan stand out over America when it came to arcades. And this one is the counteracting of home console gaming. The difference between America and Japan with this is that Japan decided to release brand new games at the arcades first, before putting them on consoles. That, I honestly think, is one of the most intelligent ways to go about it. Because now it's like, oh, I want to play this new game. Can't play it at home. You have to go to the arcade to play it. And then later, when it releases on the consoles, then you can play it. I think that is brilliant. Very brilliant. And reality is that it's actually more healthy that way too. You're not sitting at home doing everything. You get to go out, socialize, just have fun. As I said before, like Sega, they own their own gaming centers, which I think is another positive thing, because it definitely helped with what games they wanted to invest in and what they didn't want to invest in. And there's nobody to say yes or no to them. They were the creators, So that really gave an advantage. And, plus with 5 floors, you have all of these different style of gaming where hundreds and thousands of people just go to and enjoy. Now, even though arcades are thriving and doing very well in Japan, they do have a new problem, which is kind of killing them. But they've kind of, broke it out to where it's kind of flat, just flatlining there. It's not going down and declining too much right now. Y'all know what it is. COVID-19. This new pandemic has really, really hurt a lot of things in this world so far. And arcades, definitely one of them that are being affected. I will not be surprised if the extinction of arcades truly happen here in America. 'Cause there's not many left. Even though they're bars and whatnot, look at what the pandemic's doing to so many businesses. So, a complete extinction of arcades in America will not surprise me. But for Japan, it will surprise me. So far, what they've been doing is definitely helping. Now, they're still declining slightly and everything, but not on a steep, steady decline. So, these are, I'm sure there's a lot more information to be added into why Japan has thriving arcades versus America, but these are the ones that stood out more to me and what I believe are the main focuses and the main reasons why the arcades haven't died in Japan yet. Let me tell you, if you actually go to Japan, check them out. You will never leave. Make sure you take enough money. I want to say take at least $250, maybe $300 with you, because you're going to be spending all day. As soon as you walk in there, you won't be able to leave. You will spend the entire day. I am not kidding. Like, that's how amazing these arcades really are. With that being said, thank you for joining me for this episode. I will see you here next week.